to Athletics LLC with Lamar, Lucious, Big League Chew, and my man Clyde. You're about to be schooled in all things track and field. This is experience. Yes, sir. We are talking past, present, future. Y'all listen up. Let's go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Athletics LLC. We're back. That's not creepy.
Indeed. Indeed.
Right? And we're in. So welcome one, welcome all. Thank you for joining us for another fun episode of Athletics LLC. As always, I'm joined by three beautiful looking gentlemen. First off, let's start with Clyde. How you doing today?
Of course. Hello. Good night.
Lamar, Black Panther, Huffington. That's a lot of words.
Let's go.
And last, but indubitably not least, we've got Lucious.
Good evening, everyone. And so it begins.
Right? And the round.
I'd like to say that, I'm sure everybody's clear that we call us all beautiful, and you start with the pretty boy on the screen.
That's for sure, right?
That's the way it should go.
For sure.
Correct order as always. Great job, Big League.
I mean,
I try.
He is very pretty. There's no question about that.
And hey, just ask Brooks Johnson, right?
Right.
Oh, Lord.
Right.
We're not going back down that road, Lord.
No, we're not.
We
have to reference that every chance we get, though.
I love it. I love
Shout
it.
out to Brooks.
Yes.
Shout out to Brooks.
Big shout out
Right?
to the Godfather. He is the Godfather.
OG, triple OG.
The original OG.
It's like, I think there's not even an O. He's just a G.
Yeah, there you go. The original G. There you go.
Oh,
Okay, reeling it back in. Hold on, bring it back. Bring it back. All right. So without doubt, we have to start off with our track is back segment because we went 10 months without it. So how could we not, right? Most notably, we had some great events happening. First to talk about would be the American Track League meet. Wow, how did I forget what that word was? Meet that happened on Sunday. What were the notables that you all took away from that, watching it on TV on ESPN?
I want to jump in real quick and just say this. I preempted the meet by saying we need to not complain and just watch and be happy that it's on, right? Having said that, I had a conversation with somebody at like 11:45 at night while I was watching the meet recorded, and I was talking about it, and they called me. We were talking via text, and they called me to complain. And I said, listen, man, at the end of the day, here's the thing. There is track and field on during the daytime, not at like dark 30, live during football season, during the playoffs, right? Whatever was not right. And yes, for sure, there were some technical things that need to be, but at the end of the day, they have 4 weeks to fix it, right? But if we complain about it and then don't watch it because the angles are bad, and it's like, listen, man, we have a seat at the table, and I need everybody to get that and understand that it is chess, not checkers. And we have a seat at the table, and we need to be proud of that and do the best thing we can to support it, because that seat will be taken away immediately. And then you'll be mad because why is the X Games on for the 17th time? And why are they playing the Cornhole Championship?
I was going to say.
Because that's what's coming. That's
Yes,
I'm off my soapbox now.
Well said, Black Panther. Well said. I just think that from the meat perspective, just a lot of like really good things. I mean, the first thing you see is dude throw the shot put out, off the mat, right? So, so nobody. I don't know if anybody noticed it after his first throw, or second throw, they had to extend the mat, right? So, I thought that was impressive. And I mean, I was trying to think about it. Like, I didn't see a bad event. That was the thing for me. I didn't see anything that made me go, why'd they put that on, right? Like every event they ran had a solid performance. Some of them were spectacular, but I think that what I saw out of Ryan, what Fred Curry did in the 400. I'll just start with those two, and then I'm gonna let Clyde talk about the men's 60 because I know that's.
I mean,
yeah.
Listen, we need to give
You felt good
appropriate
about
time.
it.
We need to give appropriate time and attention to Mr. Krauser because, I mean, my
You
God,
did it. You did it.
And honestly, other than the amazing throwing performances that he gave, the favorite part of what I saw from Ryan Krauser was his interview afterwards, where unlike most track and field interviews, he wasn't boring. He answered real questions. He gave real perspective to the fans that were cared to listen. And if he was telling the truth, which we all imagine he is, my God, because this man is in the middle of training, hasn't even started to perfect the details of what it is that's going to make him throw whatever he's going to throw. So not only was it fantastic to watch Mr. Krauser, but it made me smile at how ridiculous Lamar's picks are going to now be for the Olympics moving forward. So
Why? I picked him to win.
Yeah, but you were acting like it was going to be close between him and some of the others, and you disrespected some folks, and
I haven't disrespected anybody.
We can roll the tape. We get you to bring it back
I
up.
have it right here. I started
know
looking. I've got
exactly
it right
what I
here.
said.
Right
Give
here.
us Lamar's picks again for the shot put. Please give us Lamar's picks
I'll
again.
cut to the chase. I picked Covets to be fourth.
Yes, but what were the picks? Two.
So he had Big Homie winning. He had Tom Walsh going second, and then Krauser third.
Yeah, okay. Yes, he did. So you ain't gonna get
it's
to
January, right?
No. Ain't no revisionist. That's why
I'm not revising it. It's January, right?
It is. Okay. It is. So
that's all
I found those particular points to be hilarious. Now moving on to the fantastic performance of Mr. Trayvon Bromell in the 60. Listen, all jokes aside, because I'm gonna get to the jokes. I don't know how anyone's not a fan of this kid. It was a phenomenal performance. Yes, it's January, but to see him back running that way, almost to the exact same point he was when he won a world championship indoors on American soil. Props to that kid. If you haven't been paying attention to his journey, you should. It's phenomenal. It's inspiring. I'm a fan of all of it. And I would like to review these 100-meter picks because I've been on this train for a while.
I'd like to call timeout.
Yes.
Because I have no desire to review a 100-meter pick over a 60-meter race. So I'm balking on that one.
So we're going to pass on
that. So when we get outdoors, and we start running hundreds, we can revisit that, but we're not revisiting it over a 60.
That's cool. I'm with that.
We're not revisiting shot put picks over the first meet either. But I will say this. I am a firm believer that if he so chooses, Ryan Krauser will throw further indoors than the outdoor world record is.
Oh, sure.
I mean, that's far. Understand that. We're talking about another 1.5 feet, right? So we're talking about another almost 50 centimeters. But I need people who don't really get track to understand, like, the world record is in no event is as easy to break as he just did that. Like, that's what I need people to understand. His first throw, his third throw was further than the pre-existing world record, which, mind you, look, Randy Barnes set that. Okay. So first of all, there was drugs involved and it was a long time ago. Right. So like, it's not supposed to be this easy, but so like the shape that he's in is phenomenal. And Lucious and I had a conversation about it, that what I think a lot of people are going to find out this year, as far as like singular and one-off performances, is that when you've had almost 2 years to train, some of the things you're going to be able to do when you have stimuli are going to be phenomenal, right? Like what a lot of people are going to start to understand is, like, if you can train longer between bouts, your performances are probably going to be pretty substantial as long as you're doing things right in training. And I think that's what this is representative of. But I will also say, and I said this to Lucious in our offline conversation, what is going to be most challenging then with that is still managing the calendar, right? Because you can do all these great things, and to stick to your guns as far as your calendar is concerned and not change things because what you can do right now. Like, look, it could be really easy for Ryan Krauser, based on what he just did, to change what he's doing and strike while the iron's hot and go throw 75 or 76 feet right now, right? It could be really easy to do that, but that would for sure cause him issues in June and July. And so what I think is going to be challenging is people managing their calendars as it pertains to what they can do in these usual tune-up meets. Because the thing I definitely don't want us to get off of before we get off the ATL meet is his interview was trash for sure, but anybody who's paying attention realizes that Fred Curley really, really, really is in some phenomenal shape right now. Because that that race was solo, not run particularly well, and run well within a comfort zone. And I'm not going to say he scared the world record because it's kind of a long way, but that was definitely a 44 mid to three quarters run if there's somebody else in the race that can challenge him at all.
Well, listen, if you're a fan of Fred Curley, or if you pay attention to, the sport at all, like, you can tell when he was, squared up on the camera for his interview, forget what he said. He looks totally different. He is smaller in his upper body. He's running differently. So, shoe, no shoe, I don't care about none of that. He looks very, very different than he has in previous years. And it's exciting. And the other people in the event should be concerned with it because he looked phenomenal.
And the thing regardless, first of all, I disagree that there wasn't a good race model because, if you're trying to run 44 seconds, it requires to go out in 21.0. That's just what it requires to challenge the world record, because the three fastest performers in the event, Mike, Karan, and Mike, that's what they all went out in to break the world record.
Oh, I didn't think it was too slow. I agree with you. I thought the first half of it, but I think that when I say poor race model, it wasn't a poor race model. There wasn't anybody there to engage with in the last third of the race.
Well, that's a different conversation. I'm just again.
So I misstated. You're correct.
But I think that, again, I totally agree with Clyde that, watching him, he looks different. And I just think that he's another one that if he decides to rest up, there's no doubt in my mind the world record's in jeopardy. It just depends on if they decide to rest him up or continue the charge to just get ready for the outdoor season. I thought that what he did was great. Even on the women's side, I thought Quinera Hayes is starting to show life again. She started to look like the young lady that was the USA champion a few years ago. And I think that with hers, again, it's going to be managing time and being able to continue to build and be ready when it counts outdoors. The women's 400 in this country is always interesting, and she adds an interesting caveat to that. So
the most impressive woman for me was actually Gabby Thomas running the off distance. Like, I thought Gabby looked phenomenal in that race.
She does.
And shout out to Tanja and the crew down there in Austin. It's a very cool vibe and a very cool collection of female athletes that they got going on down there, and it's obviously going well. But Gabby Thomas looked phenomenal in that race.
Yeah, as did Tonia Marshall in the hurdles. I thought that Tonia did a great job. She, Tonia in the past has had a tendency to kind of panic in the bigger races, not execute. But, shout out to her and her coach Dennis Shaver for, getting that fixed, because she was very poised throughout that race.
Just what the women's sprint hurdles needs, another world-class candidate.
Oh, yeah, because
that's exactly what I thought.
To that point, like, nobody really paying attention, right? Because she didn't win, but huge 60 PB out of Kenny Harrison. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm sure that it means something that is going to be very relevant in the hurdles.
Yeah.
Because
and the fact that Blessing,
that's a huge PB for her.
Yeah. And another very, be interested to see Blessing get outside. And, because if she's that close or ahead at 60 amongst most people, that's a problem.
She broke a 10-year-old PB.
Yeah. Well, she hadn't run indoors in 10 years. So I see some of those PBs. I'm like, okay, I'm not
Sure.
because they haven't run it indoors forever. So obviously it's going to happen. But
Yeah, but I don't think going into it, when you looked at the start list, I don't think anybody was thinking, okay, well, Blessing's going to run 7-1. You know, like that's not something that was on anybody's mind going in. So that was very impressive to me. I was like, wait, look at Blessing.
yeah, I'm not downplaying the performance at all. I'm just
just
not making a big deal out of the PB because it's been 10 years. But if she'd been running it every year for 10 years, okay, yeah. But she hadn't run it in 10 years. So yeah, the same thing. You know?
And there was I was trying to find the tweet. I think it was from Wallace Spearman that was kind of giving some of the background as into how this whole thing got set up. I've never had the pleasure or the irritation to try to coordinate a meet at that scale, but it's important to really, really drive home the point that Paul Doyle put this thing together. It's got World Athletics, certification. It's a silver standard, standing in the world. So everybody's performances are going to boost their world rankings, which is important for people's contracts and all of that. And he's doing it on his own. Like, I don't know how he was able to get, prime, airtime on ESPN, the original station during, all of that. I don't know what it cost, but bravo to get
I'm gonna pause you on that. Let's stick to the performances because you're gonna steal the thunder or something else. So let's go back to the performances of the meet.
All right.
Let's go back to that.
Got it. Any field events that are besides the big throw that off the top of your heads? We had the high jump that was contested.
I thought that she was Vashti was Vashti. Looked very controlled, very very easy.
Vashti's. Go ahead. I was just going to say Vashti's challenge is going to be like sort of similar to what what is wrong with me?
Krauser?
What Shantae's challenge became after a while. Vashti is so much better than all the other American females. She's only going to find true competition when she leaves U.S. soil. Mm-hmm. And that just is what it is. Like, it happens.
Yeah.
And I guess we'd be remiss not to mention the men's 60 hurdles. The abuse that Mr. Holloway put on that field was a little disrespectful, but exciting to watch. We've seen it before. He tied his own record, obviously, but that was pretty good showing for an opener.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody keeps these statistics, but I feel like 7:38 is probably some sort of record for first run of a 60 of the year for 60 hurdles.
Someone has that stat somewhere.
Someone has that stat. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will send that to you now that you put that out there.
Right.
But at the end of the day, right, the 7:38 runs, like, let's dust off let's take the car out and see if all the work we've been doing on it works. Hey, this just did. Work's working. I mean, 7:38 is.
If I'm not mistaken, Michael Dixon ran 7:54 for second, and nobody knows.
Right.
Yeah, that was a very big one. That's a huge PB for him.
That's true.
That's
true.
Huge PB for him. Yeah. So I think just kind of coming off of that, to kind of spin this towards the collegiate scene, A&T was the show in South Carolina last week. I mean, the two guys at 2069, the big 304. Just whooping up everybody about 3 or 4 seconds. Very, very impressive run for them. And then Boyling's 45.5, pretty much by himself, winning by 0.7 of a second was very impressive as well. So,
we might have to do this every week, but Miss Moo down there at Texas A&M,
she's at it again.
It's ridiculous. She's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, listen.
See, I don't know what's more impressive, the record in the 600 or the fact that she came back not so long after and split 50 points on the relay.
I mean, obviously,
that's the scary thing.
Dope, but no, the 4x4 performance was like, really? Didn't she just run the 6?
Yes.
So, listen, last year, or I say a couple of years ago, obviously everybody was enamored and week to week, freaking out over the performances of Sydney. There's no reason that Miss Moo should not get that same hype, that same blow up, that same pub. She might be better from a talent standpoint. Like, that girl is insane. And everybody at the NCAA level and fans of, NCAA track and field, enjoy it while it lasts, because it ain't gonna last too much longer. That girl's not gonna be on the scene for 4 years. Like, she's, oh my gosh.
She's that. And I think that let's watch her elevate the 800.
Yes.
It's like,
the American 800 specifically.
Exactly. Right. And then because it's going to start at the collegiate level. Because on the professional level, it's pretty good right now.
Yeah.
But it's going to make the collegians better this year, because there's always, you got somebody to chase now. It's just like, there's no, like, did anybody notice that Sydney's 1 year at the NCAA championships indoors? Like, the 400 was crazy that year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I had a young lady run 51 flat. She was fourth or fifth. Yeah. So watch the 800 this year on the women's side. It's going to be good, because everybody's going to be chasing her. And the thing is, like, she's not one. She doesn't go out and run 57 the first lap. She just runs even. And when you can run 50 point, you can go out in 60 and come back to 60, right? So it's crazy. But now I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun, and I think that again, hey, the guy from Baylor. I'm sure everybody was talking about, it was 19.5 was at altitude. Also, I'll come back down to sea level and jump 19.4. No problem. So,
right.
Another great performance, and it's going to be a great year. Really good year.
Yeah, there's like I said, I think the only real challenge anybody's going to have this year is just making sure that they, you stick to your guns and don't jump off track because of some of the jingling keys you're going to perform yourself. But yeah, I think as a fan, it's going to be a whole lot of fun to watch this year.
Good times, good times.
One really quick thing, one of the takeaways I hope that young student athletes take away from this is these are being done without external stimuli. There are no fans in the stands.
That's right. Quiet.
Right. So people need to understand, like, it's internal. Right. The motivation to run fast and do great things is internal. Right. That whole thing, like, I gotta have my music to be hyped, and look, it's in your head, man. If we take the sport away from you and now we put you on the track, you're gonna run like, I might not get to run next week. So then this is what happens.
And I think too, it can't be discounted the rest factor here. The fact that most people didn't have an outdoor season last year. There's been a lot of talk about the extra training, but I think the extra rest, both mentally and physically, has been great for everybody. I know it has been for the people around me.
Say it again out loud for the people in the back, sir. It takes confidence to rest, and I think a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah. Sometimes rest is best, my friend.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what this rest and all these marks are going to do for us at the collegiate level. There was a statement put out by the NCAA. Was that today? Yesterday? I don't even know.
A couple days.
It was in the daylight of some day. That the regionals numbers are being shrunk to 32 versus the 48. Let's talk about this. What is this going to do? It's for COVID purposes. It's so we can shrink down the number of bodies that are going to be physically in the places that they're going to be respectively. But what are our thoughts?
Yeah, sure it is. Listen, look. Sure it is. We're going to use COVID situation to lower the access point for regionals, something that people, I'll just say people, have been talking about as a good idea for years. Now, magically, COVID allows the situation to take heed, and no one's going to argue with it because it's put out there under the guise of everybody's safety. Cool, whatever. Don't be surprised if when COVID's gone, magically, it's still at a cut down number. So call me the doom and gloom, call me the conspiracy guy, whatever.
That would be you.
I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it at all. So at the end of the day, it means there's going to be less opportunities for kids to advance in the postseason. Cool. We know it now. Everybody step your game up because the access point is going to be a lot more difficult to get into. Cool. But I don't buy the excuse for it at all. It's just me.
Okay. So I'm glad you said the doom and gloom so that I didn't have to say it. But so let me put this in real time perspective for you. One, you're wrong. Because if people wanted it to be 32, they would have made it 32. That has been flown up the flagpole and burnt a lot. So that wasn't happening. And I will tell you that when it comes back, because the NCAA, contrary to popular belief, they need the numbers at the regional. That's why they're there. So they're going to go back up. Okay, so we can stop with that rhetoric right there. So the idea here is about safety. We've been preaching that all year long. Okay, so from a safety standpoint, they wanted to lessen the numbers. And see, for one, I believe that, as always, this is going to somehow make us better, because now, instead of 48, you got 32. And the line at 32 is a little tougher than to be the one at 48. So now let's watch things get better as everybody chases the 32. So I'm going to look at it from that standpoint.
I said that.
I think people step their games up. I think people get after it, because now it's harder to get there. So we're going to work harder, because you would be pleasantly surprised at how important it is for some people just to get to that meet, both from the coach's side and from the athlete side. So I think you're going to see a big influx of people working harder to get there. I think you're going to see the performances at the meet itself get better. And again, I have no issue, no angst at all with the NCAA because of what they did, because I think it was needed. Because for me, we should be thankful that we have the meet, because they could have easily said, "Oh, we're not going to do it this year." So I think that any effort to make it happen is a great thing, but I think it's going to actually make the meet a little tougher this year. And the numbers are going back up. Don't worry about that. So for you doom and gloomers out there, you'll be fine. They're going back up, because remember, that's the first round of the NCAA meet, and the numbers increase their participation numbers in the meet.
Yeah, we all understand that one.
Right. So stop with the doom and gloom. The numbers are going back up.
Well, so I will say this, right? The number 32 will make certain things very different by ways of running and field events. Correct me if I'm wrong. We went from 48 to 24, and then from 24 to advanced 12, right?
Correct.
On the track. Yeah.
So, right, on the track. So now we're going to go from 32 to 24.
Right.
So that's going to make that first round easier is the wrong word, but
absolutely is
much easier, right? It's going to make that first round much easier to navigate.
But see, I disagree, sir, because I think the perception wise is going to make it easier. But because it's 32 to 24, I think the first round is going to be hotter now, because when it was 48 to 24, people would come in there and play around the first round. So I think you're going to get a little more intensity. I could be wrong, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I mean, it'll be interesting. There'll be 4 heats of 8, right? And if you're cutting to 24, that's going to be, I mean, what, the first 4 in each heat, or first 5 in each heat, and then 4 time qualifiers, something like that?
No, if it's 4 heats, if
you're going from 32 to 24, you're only cutting out 8 people.
I'm saying so, but if you took the top 4, then it would then be the next 8 fastest times.
So I'm saying it's just depending on how many time qualifiers.
Top 4 plus 8 sounds about right.
Yeah,
that probably is what they're going to do. And so, like, at the end of the day, like, as long as you don't completely botch that, right? Like, you should be okay. But what I will tell you is, if anybody feels like doing their own personal deep dive, there is a substantial difference on a descending order list between 48 and 32.
Yes.
Right. So in the field events, Like there is running events for sure
in all
too.
the events, yeah.
But there's a gigantic gap between the 48th best female pole vaulter
How
and the
big's that gap again?
32nd best. Gigantic. It's like this. It's off the screen, right? And
I'm
so
sorry,
now,
I couldn't resist that, guys. I apologize.
now, man, I'm telling you right now, like the top 32 in the field events is going to be.
And again, that speaks to my point. I'm telling you, it's going to raise the level.
You are going to have to be a dog in the field events in particular to get into the meet.
Yeah.
Because there is, if you look at the list, in all honesty, it's a different athlete that's top 32 than is top 48 in the field events. And I'm used to looking at that. So like that, I'll speak to that, but like, it is definitively like, I had a young lady that was like 44th one year, and the following year she was like 17th, and it was only like 2 or 3 bars, but man, she was a whole different human being.
and listen, here's the reason I'm not feeling it. Most people, most programs right now are grinding and trying to create and have no idea what their outdoor schedule is even going to look like, because there's going to be a severe lack of opportunity to compete because of COVID, because of who can and cannot host, because who can and cannot travel, etc. So when the opportunities to get your marks on paper are less, to also have to combat the fact that the opportunity to advance is now smaller feels wrong. I understand the Hunger Games aspect of it. Like, hey, there's less spots, so everybody needs to really step their game up. I get all of that. And at the end of the day, in the wash, it probably will make the 32 will probably be faster than 32's ever been. I get that. And that's cool. I'm with that. But there's a reality to this, that a lot of people are literally right now struggling to find access to even get outdoor meets. So the whole thing just feels kind of like.
But really? Why does that make it a bad thing? Because you're struggling to find meets. I'm confused by your point here.
What? I'm sorry. What?
Okay, so your point is that you're not feeling it because people can't find meets.
What I'm saying is, if the number used to be 48, and we used to have everybody had their normal outdoor schedules. Mm-hmm. Now, program X might have 1/3 of their outdoor schedules. And not only so, they're going to have to hit a higher standard of performance with less opportunity to do so. And that is a tough pill to swallow, given everything else that's going around. And again, this is not this isn't a first world problem type of issue, right? That issue isn't going to affect the top programs and the top conferences for the most part. But it's going to end up being a real squeeze on the smaller programs and the mid majors and folks that have to deal with more restrictive situations, and that's just the fact. So I get it.
I hear what you're saying, but I respectfully disagree, because I don't think that we can't say we're going to leave it where it is because people are going to struggle. But then we're going to put people, that's all we've been talking about all year long, is we should be safety conscious. So you got to draw the line somewhere.
Okay,
but you got to draw the line from safety
okay,
standpoint.
and that's why that's where, to me, it you throw it out there and say it's for safety protocols, and no one's going to debate that because we all want the most safe environment possible. But there's another way that you could do a safe environment possible. You could stretch out the schedule and have less people in the venue at one time. Like, you don't have to cut the numbers to make the meet as safe as possible. You really don't. It's a quick way to do it, and no one's going to debate it.
But your issue there, sir, is that when you do that, now you talk about more money, because now you got to stretch the meet out.
See, but wait a minute. Right, that's cool, but I'm not talking about the economics. You see what I'm saying? We're supposed to be talking about the safety. All I'm saying is, if safety is the number one,
but it all plays in.
Concern,
right?
Huh?
It all plays in.
Of course it all plays in. So say something like that. Like, don't just put out, oh, it's all about safety. We got to cut the numbers. We need to take 1,000 kids out the meet because it's all about safety. There's plenty of ways to make the meet safer to get and not reduce the numbers.
You say, I'll just put it like this. You're the champion of the little guy. That's always going to be your argument. I get that. But to the point that we have been talking about for now 43 weeks, there's a pandemic going on. It's killing people. So instead of us making this a doom and gloom situation and making it the picking on the little guy, because nobody's picking on the little guy.
Okay? I didn't say that.
Let me finish. They are put it. Yeah, you kind of are. You know, like that's all. You keep talking about how it affects the little guy. People don't have opportunities and all that stuff. I get that. But this is for a year. And for the element of safety, whether it is or not, we'll never know. But that's what their charge is here. Because I promise you, for every one person that stands up and says, this is unfair to the little guy to take opportunities away, there's 10 more that will be screaming if we didn't cut the numbers back.
Cool. Can I ask one question to both of you on this point?
I'm sure you, absolutely.
So reducing the numbers is a proper way to make sure that less people get sick, right?
Theoretically.
Sure. So did the football players have to have less people on their sidelines? Did we have to have less? You see what I'm saying? Like, okay. Is there any other sport whose numbers have to get reduced?
Horrible point. Because
wait.
Okay,
why?
I'm going to ask you a question. It's a horrible point because the football players were all in the same bubble.
What bubble?
You want the bubble of the football teams. They're on their sideline. It's not like you took all the football players. You can't compare football and basketball and track and field. You can't.
Well, any other sport.
But still, you brought up football.
Are we the only sport, as of today, are we the only sport reducing postseason numbers?
We're the only sport that has the postseason numbers like that.
No,
you mean that high?
I think okay. So what I'm saying is, like, I think Chuck's point is this, right? The men's women's basketball tournament didn't get cut from 68 teams to 48. So I do understand.
I get the point, but the point of the matter is like that. It's a horrible comparison.
Why?
Because you're not bringing all of them together in a situation where, okay, like you got
the NCAA is planning to have the whole tournament in Indianapolis.
Exactly, but they're going to be in a bubble. They're going to be tested and be in a bubble, right?
Seems to me that 48 teams in the bubble would be a lot less dangerous than 68 teams in the bubble. I'm just saying.
I will say this. I don't know whether this is intended
and it's a horrible example again because they're going to play basketball, guys.
All I'm saying is this. I don't know whether this is going to be, whether it was intended and thought about or unintended, but will turn out to be positive. When you cut the qualifying number from 48 to 32, you are going to severely limit the number of teams that are at the meet, right? Like 33 to 48, there's a fair number of one-off schools in there, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so if you look at just the top 32, that number might be half the schools.
Yep.
Right.
Right. And so I'm saying, like, one of the intended or unintended positive consequences to this is there will be fewer programs that are in one place. So, but anyway, look,
because of the intermingling that happens with track and field during the competition, it's not just my 5 against your 5 on the court and all that stuff. There's a lot of more that goes on. But just so some examples of what we're talking about. This is in 2019. The 32nd best mark in the men's 100 was 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
The 48th was 10:38. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot, right?
Oh, yeah. That's a lot.
That's almost a 10.
In the 200, 2072 to 2088.
Mm-hmm.
400, 4640 all the way down to 46.7. So it gets big.
So just for shins and grins, look at one of the two vertical jumps, high jump or pole vault, either gender.
Hold on a second, let me get down here. Jeez. The high jump, 32nd was 212. 210. Closer.
Well, so it sounds closer.
But I mean, 212 to 210 is a lot closer than almost.
It's closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, same here.
Yes.
The pole vault, 516 to 505. That's bigger.
That's
now
yeah,
that's a gap right there.
That's
a huge gap.
And at the end of the day, in both cases, you're talking about pretty much a whole bar.
The long jump, 758 to 750.
Yeah, that's comparable to the sprints. Like
Yeah.
it's a number that's bigger than it looks like. But yeah, I mean, I think
Triple
we've all-
1549 to 1521. That's big.
Yeah, that's huge. So like I think we've kind of all come to the same conclusion, right? Like there's a different level of athlete that's going to be in the meet now. Well, or a different level of athlete not in the meet, I guess, whichever way you choose to look at it.
Well, I mean, it definitely cuts out the back end. And I agree, it definitely cuts out. There's going to be a smaller number of teams there. But again, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised that some of those teams are going to find a way to get there because now they know the number required to get there. I think the fight for this 32nd spot, the fight for spots 25 to 32 is going to be quite interesting, I think.
Yeah, that's going to be popcorn worthy, no question.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I know what else is going to be popcorn worthy. What you got for us, Chu?
Like, what are you talking? I thought you had something big.
No,
You
that's
actually-
clearly directed in your way too.
Right. I'll give this sidebar before we get too far removed from it. I need everybody to make sure they tune in next week because we've got a guest who everyone needs to hear from.
Yep.
Everyone. Keep that in mind. You have to tune in next week. I'll give you the slight of 24 hours leeway, but you need to listen in the first 24 hours, and that's a must. Hear that? Write it down, set an alarm, do something. Listen to the tweets. I know, right? Something. But anyhow, as we transition to the next topic. So if anybody's been paying attention, we've got some movement at the University of Tennessee. We had a new hire for their head coach position for football, as well as the position of AD was filled. So who wants to shed light on the situation? I won't, because I'll blunder it if I try to, because
I have no problem going first and delving in on this one a little bit. I think that the thing for me was that one, when they gave the AD, you don't very often see a guy go from what I guess UCF would be considered a mid-major as an AD to being an AD at a Power 5, Autonomy 5 SEC school at Tennessee. So I think there's the first move that was probably surprising to some people. I think Danny's got a pedigree. His dad's the AD at Duke, so obviously he's probably been privy to some conversations will help him get along in this job. But I think then the move of bringing his football coach with him, I don't think anybody saw that happening either. So I think that, this kind of a double-edged thing of where Tennessee went out on a limb and said, hey, I'm going to give the little guy a chance here to prove that he can play with the big boys. So, kudos to Tennessee. And, I happen to know Danny. I hope that things go well for him.
I've been a fan of UCF athletics, from a college football perspective and all of that for a while. So, on that note, I think it's dope. I think it's exciting that Danny got that opportunity. I think it made sense for him to bring Hypo with him. I mean, listen, we all understand that Power 5 situations can be a little vicious, and anybody that spent any time around Knoxville and the fandom that follows that program, more notably so. So if this man's going to be in this position and have all this attention and focus on him, I'd bet on the person that I trust the most as well to come in and run the football team. The scandal that led to the dismissal of to the firing of the coach and the retirement of the former AD was ridiculous. If you've read the details of that, ridiculous is the only word I can think of. Like, come on, guys. So,
houseway.
It's an interesting reboot, and I'll say I'm rooting for him, but the truth of the matter is, from a football perspective, Tennessee has been in some steep decline for a while. It used to be one of those programs that absolutely mattered every single year, and they ain't been relevant in 10 plus years. So, much like some other programs around the country, Tennessee is going to have to do a lot of soul searching to get back into the spotlight and near the top of the SEC.
Well, I mean, just to take it from where you left it, I think last week we talked about like blue bloods and their delusionary thought processes, right? They have mirrors on the wall, and they only see themselves. I mean, if you let Tennessee fans tell it, like Phil Fulmer is still the coach from the first time, like when they won national championship, right? And they don't understand, like, that was literally more than 20 years ago, right? And like, look, that dude is just a retired AD. Just think about that. That's how long ago that was. And so at the end of the day, like, Tennessee, Notre Dame, SC, there's a lot of programs, Michigan, that the key to them being different is for them to accept the fact that they're not who they used to be. And that's, that level of reality is not usually swift on the uptake to blue blood football programs. What I find here, let me start by saying this. I don't need any hate emails. Like, I like Josh Heupel. I think he's a good football coach. Okay, so this is not a condemnation of him. I will just say this: two things that I find interesting. One, if you've been through a hiring process as a track and field coach, it can take as long as 3 months for you to get hired. But Tennessee managed to hire an athletic director and a football coach in 7 days. So that's one, right? I'm not even sure like how or why that is. I have my thoughts, but I always find it interesting that it takes forever and so many hoops, and HR has to sign off on this, that, and the third, and background checks and all of that to hire, like, my third assistant track and field coach, but we can hire like the second most powerful dude at the University of Tennessee in like 4 minutes in a phone call. And then we can pretty much bypass any legally mandated hiring process and just, I'm bringing my guy with me. Am I assuming to check boxes there were other interviews done, probably via phone or virtual? Sure. But at the end of the day, that hiring process was clearly not a fully national one, nor was it transparent, right? So I'm not saying Heupel wasn't going to get the job. I'm just saying it's interesting that you can get the job at Tennessee without having to compete with anybody for it. And that just speaks to, it's just kind of the difference. Like, look, football and basketball are going to be able to do things differently, period. It's not just about having more money. They're going to be able to function differently than every other sport. And I think we always need to be cognizant of that. And, like, trust me, the process of whoever gets hired, where Heupel came from, their process won't be what Heupel's was. Like, they're going to have to go through an interview process, and they're going to, like, it's going to be a deal, right? And I'm not even sure that UCF has hired their athletic director yet. So,
but couldn't the same thing happen at UCF? Couldn't UCF hire an AD who just says, I'm bringing my football coach with me?
I would say, look,
it's football.
They could, but I will tell you this: I've never seen it happen before.
Right. But now there's been a precedent set, and I will say this, that I don't take offense to what Danny White did, because I would rather him just say, this is my guy, I'm going to hire him, than for him to spend 2 weeks bringing people in knowing he didn't want them and wasting their time.
I agree with you. The transparency of it, of that part, I actually am a fan of. I just think it's funny when we're always told that all these processes, have to be like open, fair, and free, when the truth is, like, they're not all that way. And I
think too, you're speaking to your experiences on other campuses. Like, I don't have that problem here. If I have an opening and I go in and say, I want to hire this guy tomorrow, as long as the immediate background check is done, we're okay. Like, there's no thing that says you have to interview this many people and all that stuff here on this campus either. So maybe that's the process in Tennessee. But obviously it is, or they couldn't have gotten it done. because if there's some
Sure.
legal ramifications, they wouldn't have been able to do it. So
Yeah, and every state's different too. So I do get that.
right.
I mean, at the end of the day, I will say this, just purely from a football perspective, depending on who Heupel hires, I think it would be smart for him to hire at least one, maybe two assistants that have some SEC pedigree. But depending on who he hires, I think Tennessee may have actually, for once, like got a football hire possibly right. Like, I'm not a Tennessee fan, but I'm a fan of, like, when everybody's good, it's, what's that expression? Like a high tide raises all boats, right? Like, football's better if Tennessee is good. Let's just call it that, right? College football landscape is better if Michigan was actually really good, if Notre Dame was actually really relevant, right? If all the
very
blue,
petty, by the way.
it's not petty, it's just true.
He's throwing shots at Michigan. That was petty, and you know it was. And you know I'm not defending Michigan, of course.
It's not a shot. Listen, these are facts.
It's a shot.
Listen, man.
It's a
Look,
shot.
you hired the cat that wears the khakis, and they can't win football games, and they're not relevant, but they want you to believe that they are. And all I'm saying is, sure, call it what it is. I'm just a truth teller. And at the end of the day, the football landscape is better if the blue bloods are good. Because
nobody's denying that.
And that's all I'm saying is, like, look, if Michigan would like to join the fray and be really good again, that'd be great.
So anyway,
Lamar's
making the elitist argument is what he's making.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is
what he's doing.
What I'm saying is this, right? Back in the day when all the blue bloods dominated, right, it was just the blue bloods that were good. My point is the landscape has changed. So now, like, the UCS of the world are also really good. If you had them and the blue bloods, now, like, at the end of the day, right, it's bigger. Like, I mean, look, we're not that far removed from Clemson not being good at football.
Yeah, the more parity you have in a sports is better. And I think that for me, the key caveat here is that like most athletic associations are successful outside of a good football program. And the key to having a good football program is a great relationship between the AD and the head football coach. And that's what Danny White went for, because clearly he has a great relationship with Josh Heupel. So that's what he went for. And I think in the long run, Danny will make Tennessee athletics better because I think he's a great leader. And I think that he has, speaking to him a few times he has an incredible vision that I think that will make Tennessee athletics better.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, like I said, I look, if I'm going to judge the man based off the one decision I know that he made, I think, look, the football coach hire was a good one.
Yeah. So now the key is, who does Josh bring there with him? Yeah. That's the key, because he can't do it by himself. Yeah.
There's no question, and I think
because it's Tennessee, he should be able to get a good draw. Get some good.
He needs to hire an assistant or two that have a positive SEC pedigree, because SEC football is different. Whether you think it's better or worse, whatever, it's definitely different. And I think, hiring an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator that have never coached in the SEC would be a mistake. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's relevant. Just my thought.
That's interesting. Can we stay there for a second, because
I'm going to get you for that later, Lamar. You should. He's tilting his head the whole time, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
I want to flip that. No, I'm serious. I kind of want to flip that back into like a track discussion, right? Because when SEC jobs come available in our sport, there's a certain narrative out there, and we've all heard people say it. Coaching in the SEC is just different. If you've never done it, are you ready for that? Are you ready for that arena? And to some point, there's a lot of truth to that. But to say just because you've never done it before means that you ain't ready for the arena doesn't make sense to me. That's the distinction that I want to make, because there's a bunch of coaches who just haven't had the opportunity to work in an SEC program. They can absolutely come in there and handle it, no problem. And there's others that can't. But to say that they need to go after people who have already been in the spin cycle of the SEC, I don't know if I agree with that.
So your argument in track and field might be valid, but I don't think I think my argument in football is more than valid. And part of the reason is because recruiting is regional. And if you have been successful, like Charlie Strong is always going to be able to recruit kids from the state of Florida, no matter what school he's at. Because when he was at the University of Florida, he did a very good job, and he made sure that all of the people that send kids to Florida also would send kids to him, right? So am I saying that Josh Heupel needs to hire Charlie Strong? No, but my point is, I think that he does need to hire at least one coordinator that has positive footprints and roots in the SEC footprint, because the best kids in the footprint of the SEC usually have coaches that help place them places.
Yeah, I'll put it to you like this, okay? Josh Heupel nor Danny White can bring UCF to Tennessee.
Facts.
That's not going to work. So when you're talking about coaches, if you bring a coach, like when you talk about, and we've seen this happen, by the way, coaches that come into this league in track and field, and they try to bring another league into this league, oh, it doesn't work. Now, if you want to come into this league and step up to what goes on in this league, oh, you can party. There's no doubt about that. But the mistake is made if you try to bring another league into this league, then usually you're not going to be very successful. So to Lamar's point, if he brings people, it doesn't have to be necessarily SEC, but I would say Autonomy 5, that kind of background that have those recruiting footprints. I disagree that it has to be SEC, but I agree that it has to be upper level footprints. Then you're going to be successful. But if you're going to bring people that only have that level of expertise from the lower conference, you're not going to get the big name recruits because they're not going to come there. And recruiting is a big part of it. So you have to bring a different level of intensity because it's a different league. But I agree with you. It doesn't have to be SEC. It could be anybody, that has a successful footprint at the upper level.
Fair enough.
All right. So let's get out of reality and let's get into a little bit of fantasy. So
this is what I was rubbing my hands
this
about.
Guy here.
This is what
he
I was
set us up
rubbing
for
my
something
hands
here, Clyde, just so you know.
Right?
I don't know what he's up to here, but he's up to
Oh, listen, we all know he's up to pure shenanigans. That's
I'm just going to be honest
No.
with you. Listen, fantasy football is one of my favorite things on this planet, right? And I was actually one of those really weird, dorky, nerdy people that was involved at one point in time in a rotisserie track league. And I thought the other day, I woke up and I thought to myself, EP, what would be a great addition to the show if we had some fantasy fun on LLC?
So,
And
in
so
lieu
there you
of
have it.
our mega predictions, we're going to play a little bit of fantasy drafting. Brr, brr, brr. Now the tide's turn. So, we will have a fantasy draft, a live draft for the men's and the women's 4x1, and then the men's and the women's 4x4.
And then we're going to post them and let America decide whose teams win.
fair
Yes.
enough. We're doing 4x1 right now.
Yes.
Women's 4x1 first.
And this is all time, not current. Any athlete over any period of time.
Oh, that is a big distinction.
Yeah.
Any athlete alive or dead.
Yeah. This,
Okay.
this continent or any continent.
Okay.
Oh, so this is not an American draft.
Nope.
Ah, okay. All right.
I told you he was up to something. I told you.
Sure.
It makes it really hard.
Or a lot easier.
I mean, it just means the more you know about track, the better your team's going to be.
Let's do this.
So
right.
in
Chew,
true
you
fantasy,
got to
wait,
tell
in true
the
fantasy,
order.
in true fantasy fashion, the biggest controversy is the draft order. So how are we dealing with that?
Oh,
No.
it's been predetermined. Trust me, it has.
Yes.
Predetermined.
But in a good
Yes.
way. Look
Yeah,
at
look-
you can read the draft orders. That's fine.
This is the draft order. It will snake. For the 4x1 women, it starts with me. Then I'll go to
Oh,
Lamar.
she's playing too. Okay, cool.
I am playing. Yeah, F this. I almost tried to pull a card and I didn't have one to pull. So I was like, damn it. It'll be myself, Lamar, Lucious, then you. And then we'll snake that all the way around through the 4. Then for the men, you get first pick. Then to
I
me,
want first pick for the men.
You got
That's
it.
too bad. You got it.
Too bad.
What you trading? Are we trading already?
We can
no
there's definitely
trades.
trades in fantasy.
So let's
trades.
just give the order before each one because then
Okay.
we won't get confused. So
Yeah, we'll forget it.
right now we're women's 4x1 and big leagues on the
I
clock.
am up.
Who's
I'm-
after you? Read one more time.
It's you.
I was making sure.
Oh,
Of course.
Okay.
here. I'll drag. I'm moving people so they remember. Oh, it won't let me. It won't let me move. Just
We got notes. She took.
I'm off the dome,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm in.
Go ahead with your number one pick.
Your
Go-
time is
go
about
on.
to expire, big league. I'm about
No,
to
you
put
got
Flojo.
like 30 seconds.
about to start
Flojo.
the Jeopardy music here.
You
Wait,
taking
Big League?
Flojo?
I
She's
got
taking
Flojo.
Taking Flojo.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just gonna go with my heart and my brain. I'm gonna take Evelyn Ashford.
So I'm next.
Yes.
I am taking Gwen Torrance.
Are you writing these all down, Coach?
Here I
Chu?
am.
I knew you were.
Well, I
So
can't
you got
believe
4 and 5.
I can't believe y'all made this as easy for me as you did. I'm taking I'm taking the absolute foundational piece of all fast women's 4x1s. I'm taking Tiana Bartoletta, and
Of
I'm
course.
also going to take that right back and take Allison with my next pick. So
That's
I'm
okay.
good.
That's
All right.
okay.
Lucious.
I'm taking Shelly Ann Frazier. Price.
See, that's the one that's the one that hurts. Because I knew who you were gonna take, Clyde.
I mean, y'all left it for me. I can't believe y'all let it go there.
But I was
That
okay
was my
with you
second
taking
pick.
that. I knew that's who you were gonna take. I was good with that. I took my anchor first. Jesus. You know, I'm gonna go counterintuitively. Oh man, I'm gonna take Elaine.
Damn it.
I'm just gonna go with raw speed. I got my anchor and my 2-leg. Now I got to figure out the turns,
Damn
and
it.
that's the problem.
You just messed everything up for me.
Hey, that's it. That is what it is.
I am going with Shippers. Daphne.
Interesting.
No, it's not.
Quite. And you have another pick too, because you're on.
I
the
do.
Yeah.
I do. It's slowing me down because I have to write first. So like I gotta concentrate. I am going to go with English.
Behave yourself, Clyde.
Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, it's
Have a
fantasy
few.
world. There's no world where fantasy drafts don't get nonsense.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get clowned. I'm
Yeah,
taking
so-
Wyoming. I'm taking Wyoming Attias.
Spell that for you.
I know. I just put Tyus.
Okay, so I'm going with Shawnee Miller-Weibo.
Oh.
Good pick.
Interesting. Well played and interesting. So my team is about to be completed then, right? Because
Yeah.
I have
Yes.
well, magically I got the exact team I would have wanted straight
Well,
up.
you got the world record team.
No, I'm definitely taking Jet, and then I'm also going to take Inger Miller for my third leg, and I'm good.
You see these? Those are
Yeah.
for you, Chuck. Those are for
I
you,
got the
Clyde.
team I would have asked for straight up. So
Those
I
are
got
for you,
Jet,
Clyde.
Allison to Inger to Jet.
Because
Yeah, I should have just dang it.
Yeah,
This
y'all
is-
come holler at me. This is a wrap. I'm done.
Oh, I don't know if it's a rap,
Because-
sir, but
It's
but
a
I'd
wrap.
it's
Okay.
not a wrap.
Wrap.
But
It's definitely not a rap.
Because you stole my third leg, because I knew that you would.
Oh, it's a wrap.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here with my third leg, and I'm gonna take. What's the young lady's name that holds the collegiate record in the 100? What's her name? Huh? Sha'Carri.
I was like, are you being
Sha'Carri
sarcastic?
Richardson.
I wanted you to state Sha'Carri.
Oh,
Sha'Carri.
I'm gonna take my girl Carrie.
I'm not gonna even lie. I thought I was gonna slide that one in there. So I'm gonna be transparent. I'm either gonna take the established previous best leadoff leg, or I'm just gonna go again with just all horsepower, and we're gonna have US relay handoffs, and we'll probably be a mess. I think I'm just gonna go with like the full-fledged all horsepower team. I have no idea who's gonna run leadoff, so I'm gonna put Don Sowell on the squad. And let's just be clear. I got the most foot speed. I have no idea where anybody's running though.
How do you have the most?
Well,
you
that's
though?
what I did. That's where I was going.
Do you have
Okay,
the most
we gotta let you pick, and then we gotta tell everybody the orders with. So you better figure out your order.
I got it.
My order is here. Have a baton at this point.
Yep, you gotta pick your fourth girl.
No, you have to draft and you have to, coach your team now.
Yeah, you got to coach the squad now, Chew.
Yeah.
Oh, I have an idea, but it's now been squashed. Oh gosh.
Oh, I got my
this is
order
gonna
too.
work.
And all y'all have another pick, right? Because I don't have to pick anymore.
No, Chew picks last.
Yeah,
choose
I'm the
left,
last pick, and I'm stuck. I'm gonna go with Marion because she's the only start that I can remember.
Definitely
That's a
the
good
best
pick.
athlete out there.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean,
She's going with Marion because she wants her team DQ.
The best athlete on the board.
She's the best athlete on the board for sure.
No, so true story. It was between her and Tori Bowie, and I just didn't know what to do.
Oh, that's
my
a better
God.
choice.
Listen,
That's why
definitely a
I
better
went with
choice.
my heart, and I felt
Okay, so
safer
now-
with that one.
So now, Chew, you gotta give us your order, and then Lamar, and then me, and then Clyde.
So I'm going Marion to Flojo to English to Daphne.
Woo! So Chew,
Lord.
I say this
That
out
is
of
a mess
nothing.
and a half.
I say this
I
out of
know.
nothing but love and respect for you. Your team is going to get destroyed.
Lit the hell
I
up.
have to put the best thing. Remember, I wrote all my names strategically, and they all got crossed off.
Yeah.
Look, you're in a game with us.
Okay,
Of course they got crossed
can we hear your order?
Even
now?
even with your team, the
Yeah.
order could have been better.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
All right. So
yes,
so here's
I agree.
Chew. Will you denote these in order?
I am. Who did I say
we're
was
gonna-
running my second leg?
You said FloJo was running. your
Okay,
team.
yeah, no, I want Daphne on 2 and Flojo on 4. I'm sorry, I said that wrong.
I
That's
mean,
fine.
Either
that's,
way, your team's
that's
screwed.
definitely better. But
I
unless
know.
Flojo's going to run 8-6, you got no shot. Okay, so I'm going to go Evelyn to Brain. I'm going to go Evelyn to Don Sowell, Sowell to Wyoming Tyus, and Tyus to Elaine.
Elaine. Got it.
And I'll be honest, I want you two's opinion when we're done as to whether my 2 and 4 should be flipped. It's set now, but that was what I was fighting over.
Say it again.
He's got
so-
white. Who you got on second?
He's got Dawn.
I've got
Dawn.
Sowell on 2 and Elaine on 4.
That's where they belong.
Okay. That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking because I
In my
thought Don
opinion,
can
yeah.
handle a stick pretty well.
Right. So I'm going Shelly Ann to Shawnee to Carrie Rich to Gwen.
That's a problem.
Well, it's a problem. And as you see, the light skinned mixed guy doesn't believe that, but it's a problem.
I mean,
And the bigger problem
listen.
is the bigger problem you got is if I'm coaching the sticks, it's a huge problem for y'all.
that's cool, and I get your strategy. You're hoping that Shanae can save your team because we've already
save my team.
because we've
Why should I
already
save the
seen because we've already seen my pop off versus your pop off. We know how that ends. So
But hold on a second. But you act like your pop off versus my pop off is like a 10-meter lead. It's close.
anyway,
It's very close.
so
Right,
my
I'm
order
with you,
is
man.
very easy. It's already done. Tiana in her spot, Allison in her spot, Inger in her spot, and Jet in her spot. Everybody where they belong. Nobody needs to learn new tricks. It's all good.
Nobody's learning. Hey, look. I promise you, it's a good race, bro. We'll see what
Oh,
America.
no.
Yeah.
Let me be clear.
Oh,
Let me be clear. Lucious,
Oh, the
your
world
team
record's
is
gone.
Look, your team is the only team I'm even remotely concerned with.
Oh, you're on.
Let me say that.
Okay. If you're not concerned with my team, then you don't really understand track, because I don't get how you listen. I got a ridiculous amount of horsepower. The only question about my team, to be completely frank, is whether Evelyn can hand off a stick. She will be a monster leadoff. It's just whether she can get a
Evelyn's
stick.
led off before, Mr. I know track and field.
I completely get that, but Evelyn at her best was always on the end. But that's why I put Evelyn 1, because that was my choice, right? I will say this, man, this would be a fun race to watch somehow. Oh my God!
Now we're on to the men's 4x1, correct?
Yes. So men's
Which there's no
4x1.
way I'm gonna get away with it being that easy again.
So the order goes Clyde,
I
myself.
don't want to go first. I want to be on anchor again.
Nope.
No. Lamar and then Lucious. And then we'll sneak that back.
I'm fourth this time.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Oh,
But you get the first back to back.
yeah, I know. Jeez.
God.
Okay, go
The
ahead.
back-to-back, listen, the back-to-back was a nice position to be in.
For sure.
You know, it was.
Oh, so yeah, exactly. For the women, I don't know about the men, so that's okay. So who starts again?
Well,
Hey, I got
well,
$20. I know who his first pick is.
I mean, let's not be stupid here. If I'm picking first, I'm taking both.
Just saying.
That's easy.
Right? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, it's me.
Yes, ma'am.
Duh. Oh, we can do it's anybody, right?
Anybody.
Christian.
Oh, absolutely. I got Carl Lewis.
Damn it. See, I was gambling on that one.
What you think was gonna happen?
Crossed.
I know.
I was like, oh, please say anybody but Carl. And I mean anybody.
Jeez, I'm stuck now. Holy cow.
By the way, I just want to say for the record, I'm not sure that Chu's teams are going to make the line. She keeps taking these disqualified people.
Well, because it's anybody. So at this point, juiced or not, they're on. So,
Oh, Lord.
Okay, so I get 2 picks here.
yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you do.
Which I really don't like with you.
So I'm going to shock the world right now. I'm going to take Justin Gatlin, and I'm going to
Who are you
take
shocking?
Asafa Powell.
That's a little shocking.
But when I put my relay together, you'll see where I'm going with this.
I think I know, but yeah, I got you.
You,
I don't know.
You probably
Relay
you know me
Asafa.
pretty well. So.
Yeah, I definitely know where you're going with this. Relay Asafa was good, though. So as long as he ain't got to run an open 100, you're good.
Petty. You are really petty tonight.
I mean, call it what it is. He was really shitty. So
you clearly, whatever's been in Clyde's cup is now in yours. So, okay. So back to you, Mr.
Yes, Lamar.
Okay, well, I'm taking the best third leg to ever step on this planet, and I'm taking Dennis Mitchell.
Okay.
Hey, to your point, Clyde, those guys are in their order.
They are. At the moment.
In their prime. I'm taking Tyson.
Jesus.
I'm thinking in my
that's
primes.
a great pick.
It's primes.
That's an
I mean,
incredible pick. I'm a little bothered because you took my pick, but that's
Yeah, that is definitely it's a great pick. You also now have 2 people who've been banned. So who's your third one?
In their primes. It's fantasy.
Listen, Chu. I'm gonna say this to you. It's a phenomenal pick. It's a phenomenal pick because Lucious wanted it.
For sure.
And I may be working against my own interest here because I'm gonna help you on this. It's only a phenomenal pick because in his prime, the boy still has stick problems. So if you ain't running first, you got an issue.
Yeah, so Chu's got another pick now?
No, so Clyde's picking twice.
I get 2 to go with.
Oh, that's
go
what you
with
do first.
both.
Okay.
I'm gonna take John Drummond. I'm definitely gonna do that.
Is that with or without the comb?
Hey, I'm taking lay down on the finish line, disrupt the track meet.
I like
JD.
Getting
like
real busy on the leadoff leg drumming.
Right. I'm
like
flexing.
Yeah.
Onesie half off JD. That's why I'm taking.
like it.
That JD is a problem.
That JD is a problem.
And now it gets complicated. Miss Organizer, we don't have a draft board here. Can you recite who's been taken off the board, please?
No, absolutely not. No.
No? All right, well then I'm just gonna make it simple. I'm just gonna make it simple, and I'm gonna take Noah Lyles.
That's what you want to do in the first place. Just take it.
I wasn't sure, but there was a name I can't remember. There's a name I can't remember if it's gone yet or not.
If y'all take one more of my guys here, just one more.
I'm taking Blake.
See now, okay, I'm done. So I'm sitting over here. I don't have a relay anymore.
You better make one up.
Oh,
look, I'm gonna come up with something, but y'all taking all my people.
That is hilarious.
The second spot is never good in any fantasy draft.
No, it isn't.
You don't want beats.
Oh man,
I'm fourth. That's not a good spot either.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, two is trouble in the second spot.
Yeah.
So it's my pick, right?
Yes, sir.
It is.
I am gonna take the Namibian Nightmare. I'm gonna take Frankie Fredericks.
I'm gonna have to Google that one.
Oh,
I know. It's okay.
Well, I wonder if I'm going to get away with this.
He was second in the Olympics in '96 in the 100 and 200.
Oh, well, yeah. So,
I wonder if I'm going to get away with
Lucious?
So now I get 2 picks.
Yes, sir, and that'll wrap up your relay.
So I'm gonna go real old school, and with the guy that I think that, in my time was the best third leg on the planet, and Mr. Calvin Smith.
Calvin Smith.
He was a wise choice there. So it's a wise choice.
I mean, it was a choice between him and Dennis. I just picked Dennis because he was slightly better, but for sure.
And then I'm gonna go real homer down the backstretch because I trust this guy, and I know that he has recorded one of the fastest splits in history. Mr. Bernard Williams on the second leg.
The fastest on the backstretch, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly.
And damn you, I knew I wasn't going to get away.
Y'all kept still on my third leg. I had to go hard on my second leg, so I'm good.
Right. Lamar.
Am I allowed to ask a question of a coach of this athlete?
Nope.
No
ask.
consultation.
You may not get an answer, but you can ask.
Oh man.
La, 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 la,
All right.
la, la, la.
I guess theoretically,
He's the boy, so you got to take him.
I do. I'm gonna take John.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Mr. Capel, John Capel.
John Capel.
I heard John Drummond. I was like, you already.
No.
We call him John.
Okay.
I'm gonna take John, and I'm gonna have to call him on the phone and get him to
You're gonna have to explain why you.
So you can ask the question now.
Can he run leadoff?
He led off the world championship team in 2003.
I just wanted to make sure that I got the look. That was my memory, but
let me ask you a question. Where did John go to school?
The University of Florida.
On any leg you need him to run. In the discussion.
Well, I mean, you see, I didn't have a problem taking him, right?
Put him on 5th leg. Excuse me?
I said, you see, I didn't have a problem taking him.
Exactly. Yeah. There you go.
My ears are definitely not working because I heard you say put him on 5th leg.
Yeah, that's what I said.
He did say that.
Oh, okay.
He did.
Okay. I'm taking Mikey.
Norman.
Mikey who? Norman?
Michael Norman.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Not even a bad interesting. Just interesting. I like that.
Interesting selection. All right. So since my two, ideas got snatched up, I think I'm gonna go what most people might consider outside the box, but it's only because of lack of opportunity. my final pick to complete my relay, I'm taking Otto Bolden.
Yeah.
Although that was a strong second to take him B Will on the second leg. It was.
Yeah.
I'm taking Otto Bolden. Never got to really see him do international relays because, you know,
right.
The Trinities
but it's
ain't got
Otto, so you know he's gonna run. There's no question
sure.
about that. It's Otto, right?
And so since I'm the first picker, I have to give my order first, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Lucious, I think you will appreciate, given the 4 that I have, what I'm going to have to do with this team. Obviously, JD is popping off, and from the same era, from the same camp, Otto is going to run down the backstretch, and Noah's going to anchor, and we're putting Bolt back on third, where he originally destroyed the entire world. So JD to Otto to Bolt on 3. Oh, you don't remember the first time? Bolt,
I remember, but I don't know about this destroying stuff. But
Bolt on 3.
I mean, hey, you know what? We'll let him do what he does.
Yeah.
Got it.
As you like to say, we'll let you tell that. Okay.
Yeah. Can I just say that two things that I think are of interesting note, right? That neither of these two people were taken. Leroy Burrell, who was on 2 different world record 4x1s, and Terrence Trammell, who I think every single one of us thinks has run like one of the greatest legs we've ever seen.
Listen. Otto over Terrence was my thing. I didn't take Burrell because I was out of straight leg spots.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Look, I took Frankie over Leroy. That was at the end of the day. That's what I did.
Okay.
Oh no, but trust me, I thought about taking Terrence. I did.
All right, I got Christian to Mikey to Johan to Tyson.
It's a much better team than your women's team. I'll tell you that.
And you might not get to stick around the track, girl.
Probably
right.
not.
That's my best chemistry.
Oh.
Remember,
probably not.
My method was just get 4 bodies and we'll work on it.
Well, you got 4 good bodies, but getting that
got 4 good bodies.
That's going to be
true USA form, right?
That's going to be problematic.
Wait a minute.
Don't put that on the USA.
Wait. 1 second. Shoot. Tell us the team again. Tell us the order again.
Christian to Michael Norman to Johan Blake to Tyson.
Yeah. Just make sure Tyson puts the appropriate hand back on anchor.
Well, and that's why we put him in the place where there's least amount of
oh no, there's video evidence of this.
Just shots being lobbed in.
Y'all are just petty tonight. Lord have mercy.
This is
right,
okay. So
I love this. Is it? So it's my turn.
Black Panther, yes, sir.
It's your turn.
Okay. The Nigerian Black Panthers are going to run John Capel on the leadoff to Frankie Fredericks to Dennis Mitchell to King Carl.
Got it. Last but not least.
And we are a problem.
Yeah, maybe. So I'm going to go. I'm going to put my man where I think he should have been a long time ago, because I think if you put him here, we saw what we saw to Christian Coleman a long time ago. I'm leading off Justin Gatlin. And I guarantee I'm good. I'm good.
Amen to that.
And then
I knew that world wishes we could have seen.
And then I'm going to run the fastest guy ever to do it down the backstretch. And I'm going to run, which is Bernard Williams. And I'm going to run my man Cal Smith around the turn. And I'm going to rank her a Safa Powell. And I'll see you at the finish line, dog.
Listen, again, I'll concern myself with your team.
No, you should be very concerned.
You should be very concerned with both of our teams, sir.
Your anchor has a
intestinal
fortitude issue.
Nope, not on the relay he doesn't.
We'll see. On the relay he doesn't. I'll give him that. On the relay, he's a dog.
He only wait a minute. He only if you're out front, he's good, right?
Nope, that's not true.
I mean, he's not.
I'm
not even going to take that petty.
Hold on a second. As you like to say, check the tape. Go back to 2007. When he was way back and came flying on.
All right, well, anyway, he won't be chasing Leroy down the home stretch, homie.
It doesn't matter who he was chasing. He ran really well. And honestly, he ain't have to be chased. He's going to be out front when he gets a stick anyway. So it ain't going to be a problem.
Well, there you go. That's your. I hear you.
All right. I just will say this. Y'all all better try to do the best you can to run away and hide, because we clearly know I have the best anchor. Since you wanted to run the anchor on third, I'm good. I feel very, very good.
Well, yeah, I
where
just feel
my team
confident that
is.
by the time that
Why you think I put it there?
Carl's a problem on the anchor, but I don't think he's close enough to catch me, so I'm good.
Or me,
Because we're gonna
for
get
that
going.
matter. Because you definitely gonna be behind. You're gonna be in third place. You dropped the stick earlier. So you're gonna be in third place by the time the anchors come.
Why they got you dropping this stick, Chew?
Miracles. I got miracles on my side.
Yeah, see, I would say, Chew, I like your team. I don't like your order
At all.
And that's an on the spot.
So-
I gotta put them together.
You know, at some point in time off camera, we'll have a
We'll have to talk.
Relay 101 conversation,
Yes.
but that's a horrible order. But
Yes. Not even a bad one. I got a horrible.
Oh,
It's a horrible order.
It's not
correct.
bad. It's
It's
horrible
really bad.
order. Great talent.
Oh my
horrible
gosh. Oh my gosh. Anyhow, I'm gonna
That's
make a
one of those
decision.
orders. If you look at the team, and they walk out on the track, it's like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Your
for sure.
order's just bad. Your order's bad.
Or-
We'll
Your
talk
order's
about that.
bad.
Because
That's
the first mistake you made is like the best, arguably the best third leg ever is on your anchor leg. Like that's not a good place for you.
Listen, choose team walks out and the order flashes on the screen and all the Americans start tweeting, who's the coach?
God damn
Right.
it.
Right.
Who's
Right.
the coach?
So
The Chinese team is not a problem.
I mean,
Right.
anyways. And hey, I'm not gonna lie, Sue was on my list, but I didn't go there.
Hey, Sue's an excellent
Yeah.
curve runner.
So that was my thought, and then I have other thoughts that we'll talk off camera. But
Okay.
so in the sake of time, I'm going to say that we postpone our 4x4 draft because
Okay.
Yeah.
this is definitely longer conversation and whatnot.
Right.
So
We'll do 4x4 next week.
we'll leave everybody on the edge of their seats for our fantasy draft for the
Mhm.
4x4.
Who picks
So,
first?
But true fun. I will post these as tweets on Twitter. Feel free to vote us. I will be voted off the island, I know, but we will vote them. And
Off the island, Chew. You
right,
go.
I'm already on the airplane off. And
Or to
we will
Marissa.
see what happens, and I will report
Who
that
has the first pick in the women's 4x4? That's
in
next,
the
right?
women's 4x4.
No,
it is
we're
you.
doing that. We're postponing that.
I know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know because I got a week now, right?
So
I
now
pick
there's
first.
a week to put yes.
Okay. Just
And
making
then-
sure I'm good.
Lucious, you are first in the men's pick, so FYI. Oh, now he's out.
God. Boo.
Yes, sir. You
All
got
right.
a
Of
problem.
course I would. Of
You know you
course
got
I would pick. I pick last in the men's 4x4.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, my
Yes,
team's
you do.
going to be god awful.
Okay.
No. There's no beat. There can't be a god awful team in the 4x4. It just
I mean, that's true. It just won't be what I want.
won't be what you want, but it won't be god awful.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
all right. It's all right. My women's 4x4 will be fire.
All right. Well, I'm going to take myself off the hot seat now, and I'm going to put Clyde on the hot seat and get me out of
Damn.
the rapid fire.
It's that long. It's been that long. All right, go ahead.
Yes. All right, sir. Whew. Okay. Is it Reese's or Reese's when we're talking about peanut butter cups or pieces? Is it Reese's
Reese's.
peanut butter cups or Reese's?
Reese's.
Got it. What is your most coveted item at the hotel breakfast?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I've typically worked at places with minimal budgets, so I do my best to avoid the hotel breakfast at all costs. So my hotel breakfast most coveted item is distraction, so I can go get something else.
Most coveted item is his phone to call an Uber.
There you go. Something.
Oh my gosh. All right.
The delivery guy.
Yeah, DoorDash to the rescue. Are you wearing over the ear or earbuds when listening to music?
I'm a fan of my bows, my over the ears.
Got
I like my comfort. I can lay on the pads. Bow.
Stone Cold or Goldberg?
Wrestling?
Yeah.
Stone Cold.
It's a wrestling. SEC or Pac-10, and that's strategically said.
In general?
No, for you.
No.
Well, my alma mater. Listen,
You raced both.
I'm an SEC guy. I'm an SEC alumni. So
Got it.
that's where it is.
All right. Oreos. Are you a split and lick or a dunker?
First of all, that's a very inappropriate sounding question. First of all.
First and foremost, poor choice of words.
Right. Secondly,
It was supposed to be funny.
it was hilarious.
It was.
It was hilarious. But
what's the little guy's name?
I know. Oh.
In the times of my life where I did eat Oreos, I don't like milk, and I never took the time for all that. I just eat the whole thing all at once.
Got it.
So the answer is neither.
Neither.
What does my man say? I eat it whole like a duck.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Oh.
The seats are cloth on Bart. Are you standing or sitting?
Oh man. You have to understand to understand. I typically stand on Bart, period. I like to, be aware of all of my surroundings.
You gotta
keep your head on the swivel. Keep your head on the swivel.
For my East Coast folks, the BART is just as treacherous as the New York City subway.
There are few and far between cloth seats left, but there are trains that still have the cloth seats, and you're like, ugh.
No chance.
Ugh. All right. Last question. Meet credentials. Are they on your belt loops or on your neck?
Belt loops. I don't do the neck. It's weird. It's weird.
All right, sir, you've survived. You have survived. Whew. Those are literally getting harder and harder.
Big League, that was a really good set of questions. That was good.
Yes, it was.
I'm trying. All right. Well, in true form, we are going to end our evening with some true sentiment, getting us off our giggles, and showing some love to those who have helped us get to where we are today, who we are today, and help us accomplish the things that we've accomplished already. So we are going to give our heartbeat props to those who we feel deserve. So is there anybody who's, there we go, jumping out our seats.
All right, go ahead.
Look, mine is a pretty simple one, and I was inspired by watching the ATL. My heartbeat props go to all the track and field athletes who choose to endeavor to try to pursue personal bests, national records, world records amongst the pandemic. And I say that not to be full of hyperbole, but at the end of the day, like, we are all going through things we've never gone through, period. Right? None of us are old enough to have been through the Great Depression, which is the only thing I can think of that was even remotely like this. And to see young people at the highest level breaking world records in week one, of their seasons, all the way down to young people with no facilities to go to meets and who are trying to compete at their personal bests. I'm inspired by the resiliency of human beings, but track and field athletes in particular at this point, because track is already hard. Track and field is already the hardest sport to do in most cases, and certainly to do professionally. And to be doing it in some cases in strange or non-training environments, and almost certainly in more solitude than ever before. If you're someone who has always been in a group and now most of your runs are solo or they're separated, it's just way different than it's ever been. And to see what these people are doing and how they are persevering through what we're going through, like, I am inspired. And I think we need to all realize that we as human beings are far more crafty and far more resilient than we give ourselves credit.
Well, sir, you should have went last with that, because it's not going to be better stated than that tonight. interestingly enough, mine is along those same sentiments for a little slightly different reasons, and all has ATL kind of connections also. So, you know, we as fans can be inspired by performances. We as coaches can be, you know, inspired by the people that we, you know, have access to on a daily basis. And, you know, in the larger landscape, I think we all have our, you know, long standing kind of, you know, fanhood of specific athletes that continuously find a way to inspire and impress us and shatter molds and just represent. And interestingly enough, given the context of having, you know, the fun to watch the first ATL meet indoors this past weekend, my heartbeat props tonight are going out to the three TBs. Trayvon Bermel, fantastic job, sir. Very inspiring performance. Tom Brady, you know what it is. And Tiana Bartoletta, who will be opening her season this coming weekend at the second session of the ATL track league. So all three of the TBs, love y'all. Do keep doing your thing.
TB3.
Oh my gosh.
My heartbeat props tonight go out to the medical profession as a whole. What we've experienced in the last year, you know, a year ago today, the turmoil was just beginning to unfold. And what the medical profession has done in the last year has been nothing short of amazing, incredible, any, you know, word of that lineage that you wanted to use. I think we all need to wake up and understand that if not for the medical profession, we would not have any sports at any level in this country going on right now. You know, they dealt with the pandemic, you know, the sicknesses, the death. You know, they're now dealing with the rollout of the vaccine to try to get the country back in a place. So if you have somebody in your circle that's a medical professional, you know, give them an air hug, give them a pound, you know, sing the praises, because understand without the medical profession, and I'm not just talking about the people at the top, you know, the nurses, the nurse practitioners, the people in the pharmacies all over the country, all over the world. If not for them, we are not where we are today, and we definitely would not be playing athletics at any level. So big props to the medical profession tonight.
Awesome. I wanted to give a little bit of recognition to the class of 2022. That was really hard. They're grinding. They're grinding, whether it's trying to get to meets outside of their state or outside of their counties, trying to get competitions in, or just being on their devices, whether it's emails, texting, Zoom. They are making sure if they can't compete and show us that they're talking to us and showing the interest and whatnot. 21, you're working hard as well, but you know, 22 stands to lose a lot. So I just wanted to give them a quick shout out and, you know, a honorable mention to 21 as the work they're doing already, but keep it up. We all recognize as coaches what you're trying to do, and being steadfast and being faithful and trying to get something in there, even if it isn't physically being marks, you know, you're verbally letting us know how good you are as a person. So keep strong.
I want to add something to Lucious' remarks. I'm kind of moved to this. If you've ever coached or done anything in athletics in the South in particular, they always seem to have a moment of recognition for those who have served in the military. And I've always been somewhat moved by that, right? Like I believe it or not, I come from a military family. And what I think should be done going forward, in addition to that, are those who are in the medical profession, because their service to this country it's nothing short of what anybody's service has been in the military during or out of wartime. Because let's be clear, people in the medical professions are moving out of their homes away from their families so they can serve the greater good of the rest of the world. And let me tell you something, when you're risking your life legitimately on a daily basis with a disease that seems to be unwieldy and comes up with different strains on a regular basis, and you're not getting to see the loved ones and the comforts of your own family, that sacrifice is just as big and should be as ballyhooed as those who fight for this country, because trust and believe, they are both taking their lives in their hands to protect the lives of others. So I wanted to say that, Lucious, I was moved to that thought, and I hope that somebody else and way above my pay grade has that thought going forward.
Well, and if the words of Lucious and Lamar ring true to you, as they should, unlike the military, you can actually help the medical professionals. Wear your masks, get your vaccines when you can.
Amen.
Those are facts.
Well,
I saw a really cool thing. It said all superheroes wear masks, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, that's a good play on words. I like that. Well, we did it. Ring the bell. We got another episode in the books. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you for joining us for that that segment of Silly. And we will bring it next week. In addition to, again, I say this because this will be a great episode. Not that any of them haven't been great, but a great episode of Highlight next week. So please make sure you tune in. We will get it up for you to enjoy as always. But have a great week. Have a great weekend. To those who are traveling, be safe. Get home safe with the least amount of germs possible. And then other than that, have a great week and have a great weekend, y'all.
When the lights come on, the road just get to running. When the lights come on, opponents smash the plumbing. Heard you like it warm, hot, knife the butter. Truth hit them hard, knock them off that rebuttal. Tsunami, tidal wave to your puddle. Tough love, punch you in the arms, little brothers. Athletics, LLC, there's no others. Track and field's place and we'll peel to go further. Hey, Wile E. Coyote, it's road runners. Feels like you know us, you've been with us the whole summer. If not for this quarantine, these four corners wouldn't be here, but we here, so start learning. You gotta earn your stripes, gotta get your scars. Show you how to fight, but show us who you are. You lack experience, but still you wanna talk. And who is actually talking to you? Circle's kinda small. Heads prevail when the backbone's strong. Gotta keep it coming, no, it won't last long. Pass and fail, then sell the sad song. And if you don't check yourself, then that's wrong. Just trying to give you the real that you asked for. So why you keep cutting us off to ask more? We put it in slow-mo, but you fast forward. Athletics, LLC, the task force.